Lewis Hamilton makes Ayrton Senna claim ahead of 1000th F1 race at Chinese Grand Prix. The Chinese Grand Prix will bring up 1000 F1 races in motorsport's premier competition. Hamilton is hoping to follow up on his Bahrain victory to leapfrog Mercedes teammate Valtteri Bottas to the top of the Drivers' Championship. The Brit was asked to reflect on the most memorable race of his lifetime. And watching his late hero in action at Donington, where he overtook 4 drivers including the legendary Michael Schumacher on the opening lap, stood head and shoulders above the rest. I think everyone knows I was inspired by Ayrton Senna, and that's where a lot of my passion for F1 came from, Hamilton told the Chinese Grand Prix race program. I started watching Formula One with my dad when I was just 4 or 5 years old. At the time, Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost were the leaders of the pack and they immediately caught my attention. I would come home from school and quite often put on a video of Ayrton Senna. I wanted to be him. I aspired to drive the way he drove, and to achieve something similar to what he achieved. And Ayrton's great races would be among my favorites. You think of the amazing performances in Monaco. But the one that obviously stands out for everyone is his incredible first lap of Donington, in the wet, at the European Grand Prix in 1993. It was just phenomenal to watch. Hamilton's own personal favorites come from his 5 championship-winning drives. It's amazing to think that Formula One has reached 1000 Grand Prix, he added. For me, it's even more incredible that I've been part of 231 of them. There have been so many races over my time in F1 that I could pick out as being important, and obviously my championship wins were special moments. Each one was unique in its own way. Next news: Leclerc can claim redemption in China. Charles Leclerc was cruelly robbed of victory in Bahrain after an engine cylinder failure, but he can seek redemption at the Chinese Grand Prix. As that call on the radio to say there was a problem with the engine came through, many hearts died along with that cylinder, knowing that a stunning drive from a remarkable young driver was going to end in tragedy. The crumb of comfort came in the safety car, which arrived after Renault's double retirement. That would allow Leclerc to keep his Ferrari ahead of Max Verstappen and cling on to P3, but that podium spot felt empty to say the least. But, what cannot be questioned is the 21-year-old's positive attitude. He accepted disappointment, shrugged it off, and already is looking to the future, and his stage to put things right arrives at the Chinese Grand Prix. "We are seeing a young champion in the making," was the words of rival Mercedes boss Toto Wolff. Round 3 of the 2019 championship in the 1000th Grand Prix takes place at the Shanghai International Circuit, a track that is 5.451 kilometers long and in Turn 1 and 2 has arguably one of the more difficult corner combinations on the Formula One calendar, comparable to that of Istanbul Park's Turn 8, which is another Hermann Tilke designed track. It's a circuit where, while passing isn't easy, it isn't impossible. In 2011, Mark Webber raced from 18th on the grid without cars to finish 2nd, right behind teammate Sebastian Vettel. This venue also provided Michael Schumacher with the final victory of his Formula One career in 2006. The Bridgestone Intermediate struggled on a damp Shanghai track, with the legendary German qualifying in P6. It was all change in the race though, as the 7-time champ cut through the field on a drying track, and when Giancarlo Fisichella emerged from the pits and immediately slid wide at Turn 1, Schumi came through to take his 91st and final victory in the sport. It was Vettel who put the Ferrari on pole here last year, but it's not a track the Scuderia enjoy. Mercedes have won every race here bar 2018 in the V6 era. Speaking of Vettel, it's 10 years since he won his first and only Chinese GP, and the German must use China as an opportunity to silence the critics following that unforced error in Sakar. Let's hope Verstappen doesn't shunt him in Shanghai this time around. It was the 32-year-old's latest spin when under pressure from Lewis Hamilton, which once again drew the Vettel cracks under pressure detractors out from under their rocks, and Seb needs to put them back there before he becomes the forgotten one, rather than the chosen one at Ferrari. As for our race winners in Bahrain, Mercedes, well, they either have to solve their pace issues or hope for the gods to take their side again in China. Hamilton himself has spoken of how lucky the Silver Arrows were to win in Sakar, and he tells no word of a lie. Luck isn't exactly a faithful friend for the Brit in that part of the world. Unlike many generic tracks, this one punishes mistakes, as there are plenty of gravel traps, and who can ever forget 2007, where then rookie Hamilton slid into the pit entry gravel trap in the tricky conditions after McLaren had delayed pitting him. It would allow Kimi Räikkönen to stay in the title fight and ultimately go on to become world champion. Red Bull are another team looking for pace. Verstappen ran a lonely race at the Bahrain International Circuit. He was clear of the midfield, but nowhere near the top four. His hopes for better pace on the medium tires didn't come to fruition. "It's a tricky car at the moment," said team principal Christian Horner, "but it's a bull they need to tame quickly if they are to deliver on their pre-season hype of a title challenge." They took the checkered flag in Shanghai with Daniel Ricciardo last year after an impressive call on tire strategy. The Austrian team will look to capture lightning in a bottle again. Indeed, Ricciardo joins Hamilton, Vettel and Räikkönen as the only drivers on the 2019 grid who have won at this track. So, will Ricciardo claim consecutive wins with his new employers? We doubt it. Why? Renault's double retirement in Bahrain. It really was a bizarre Formula One moment, as both Ricciardo and Nico Hülkenberg dropped out at the same time from points-paying positions on lap 55. That marked back-to-back retirements for Ricciardo, and these kind of stats are just no good for a Renault team who are looking to build on their best of the rest status in 2019. Ricciardo has said that the team will come to China armed with an upgrade to fix that dodgy engine. It will be interesting to see how effective it is. But, you get the impression their issues run deeper than a quick fix. It was their customer team who had one of the brightest showings in Bahrain, that being McLaren. Lando Norris followed up another strong qualifying performance with P6 in the race. He promised us he would soon match his race with his qualifying form, and it sure didn't take long for him to deliver. In fact, both McLarens made it into Q3 for the first time since 2017, and Carlos Sainz would have been right up there with his rookie teammate in the race if he hadn't have collided with Verstappen in the early stages. While the focus will be on what's happening at the top, McLaren will certainly be in the corner of viewers' eyes. Can they repeat their form at the Shanghai International Circuit? From a neutral point of view, we hope so. Another team who the neutral would like to see hit a bit of form are Williams, but still we are seeing very little sign of this. They remained comfortably off the pace throughout the race weekend in Bahrain, though a positive could be found in Robert Kubica, who was much closer to his teammate George Russell this time around. Russell will return to the Williams cockpit in China armed with the experience of a testing day with Mercedes, where their development driver finished fastest on day 2, but it will take a lot more than that to relieve his struggling 2019 employers of their flaws. Thank you for watching the video. Be sure to share and subscribe to your channel to get the latest sports news around the world. Wished health and success. Goodbye.